Thank you for being here for our weekly question. So, what do we have this week, Marcus?
This question is simple. It is, what is Passover?
That's an excellent question. Part of the readings that we did in the Old Testament was the Exodus story of them coming out of enslavement, of 400 years of enslavement. And as they were coming out, you remember there were all the plagues that the Pharaoh had to go through. I don't remember how they went off the top of my head, but there were a whole bunch of plagues. And Pharaoh kept saying, you can't go. And then finally, on the last night when they knew that God knew, they didn't really know, God told them, I want you to cover the door frame of your house with blood so that when the angel of death comes, the angel will pass over your place. And then there were these instructions to kill a lamb together and to eat the entirety of the meat. And I don't know if you remember this in the reading, but there was the question of, what if my family's not big enough to eat a whole lamb? Yeah. And then the answer was, go eat with your neighbor. Yeah. So huddle together and share this feast together. And then it became, they were told to remember that feast every single year. So after they had that feast, that ended up being the night that they actually left. And the water was parted in the Red Sea and all of that part of the story. So it became a meal that they had every year to remember that God saved them from this enslavement of Pharaoh. In fact, you may know this, but Jesus was crucified on the day after Passover, on Passover Day. It was the Passover meal. You know, the Last Supper?
Yeah.
We have a picture of it in the church, and that's what we celebrate and honor and remember every time we take communion. We usually do communion monthly here, but that it's the Passover meal, which means that for us, Jesus was the Passover lamb. Right. That it was because of Jesus' sacrifice that all of us get to live. So I like in Scripture that it teaches us storytelling parties are important. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, for that, I immediately think of Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's when the grandparents share stories about when they were kids and Christmas, and just you get a peek into the past days and what it was like.
Yeah.
And then also you remember, it's crazy that your grandparents were once little kids, and as a kid you just like, they're there. But yeah, it gives you a new perspective.
Yeah. I think too of birthday parties, in the way that whenever we have birthday parties, it's always a celebration of, I'm so glad you exist. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm so glad you exist that I want to eat something sweet about it. You know, that the way that a cake has become part of the tradition, and the way that God teaches us the holiness of coming together to celebrate, that's part of what it means to be we're talking about cultivating generous communities.
Right.
And that's generosity of spirit to be doing that. So God was cultivating a generous community and learning how to share the meal with each other, making sure everybody had a piece of the cake, making sure every year you had a party. And we have parties here. What's our next one coming up?
Our next party is a Valentine's Day dinner. The junior youth, the younger kids, they're going to be serving. It's kind of like the waiters and waitresses, and serving anyone who comes for dinner.
And how much are tickets?
Tickets are free, but
that is so in the budget.
Yes, but you feel free also to donate, I believe, is how it works.
Yeah, but I love that. Like, there's never any sort of, no, I can't afford that. It's in the budget. But if I have extra money, we're raising money to send kids to a trip on Mountaintop this year.
That's correct,
So, all right, cool. Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for being part of our celebration of this day. Mm-hmm. And does that answer enough of what Passover's about?
Yeah, I learned
Cool.
more than I did before.
Awesome.
So,
That's all we can ask for in a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being with us.